It's 1941 in Chicago. You own a large company, and you need salesmen to sell your product. So you hire 75 men. You lend them 1/3 down payment so they can buy a car. And since they're using their own cars on the road, you also pay for their mileage and gas. But here's the problem. Any salesman with his own car is now a hot commodity in the sales business. In other words, other companies start poaching your salesmen, and they leave before paying off the loan. What will you do now? Today we're looking at how this true event created the car leasing industry that we know today. We'll also see some of the biggest car leasing scams. And I'll explain why car leasing isn't for everyone. So hop in and let's get going. The fastest way to understand car leasing is to see what it's not. When you buy a car, you pay for it in full on day one and you own the car when you walk out the door. Or you can take out a loan. As soon as you pay off the loan, the car is fully yours. It's like when you take a mortgage on a house. Once you pay off the mortgage, the house is fully yours and the bank has no claim to it. But leasing is more like renting a car from the dealer for a certain amount of time. It's usually around 36 to 48 months. When your lease period is over, you can either choose to return it to the dealer or lease another car. Or you can purchase it at the predetermined price found in your lease contract. Think of it like renting an apartment. You pay rent every month, but once your rental agreement expires, you have no actual ownership to the unit. Leasing a car isn't for everyone. But before I tell you why, let's rewind a bit. How did leasing even become a thing? Believe it or not, before cars existed in the U.S., people leased horse and buggies. But actually, the concept of leasing started even before then. We can trace it back to the Singer sewing machine. People could lease a Singer sewing machine by paying $5 per month with the option to purchase it later if they wanted to. But it wasn't until 1941 that car leasing, the way we know it today, got started. That's when Zolly Frank, who owned a Chevrolet dealership, saw the dilemma faced by Petrolager, a large pharmaceutical company in Chicago, mentioned at the onset of this video. Zolly proposed that he rent each car to Petrolager for $45 a month. The lease agreement included replacing the car yearly, including tires, maintenance, oil changes, and collision insurance without deductible. Petrolager wasn't sure of the idea at first, but they were willing to try. They started by leasing 5 cars. The arrangement turned out profitable for both parties. So much so, in fact, the next year, Petrolager leased 75 cars. And that's how car leasing took off. Demand for leases picked up rather quickly. This led brokers and banks to get in on the action. Unfortunately, many banks made some big mistakes along the way. For example, many overvalued a vehicle's worth at the end of the lease term. This resulted in profit losses for the banks. So the banks pulled out of the car leasing business. Customers, on the other hand, were perfectly happy to drive that new car their neighbors were talking about for a lot less than they could buy one for. Car leasing continued to grow in popularity in the following decades. By the first half of 2016, the leasing market in the U.S. had an all-time high, thanks to millennials and older consumers who are driving the demand today. In fact, car leasing in the U.S. has doubled in popularity over the last 5 years. A major advantage to leasing versus buying is that when you lease a car, you have lower monthly payments to make. In general, the payment you make each month is much less than if you were to actually take out a car loan and buy the car. This gives consumers the option to go for a much larger, fancier ride than they normally would do because of the cost difference. But just a reminder, you're not paying to own the car, you're just leasing it. You're only paying to drive the car. Leasing also means you can drive a new car every few years. So this is a great option if you're the type of person who loves to get the newest iPhone as soon as it comes out. This means you can lease a slick new Tesla. And then as soon as your lease is up, you can lease a newer and even slicker one that same day without ever having to go through the hassle of selling your old car first. But there are disadvantages to leasing, and tons of leasing scams to watch out for, too. One disadvantage of car leasing is at the end of your lease, you're expected to return the car to the leasing company in the same condition at the start of the lease. This means no cool new decals and definitely no shiny new customized wheels. If you do decide to customize your car anyway, the finance company may require you to reverse any modifications you have made. So there's a cost and inconvenience in that sense. So if you're the type of person who loves to customize your car, leasing probably isn't the best option for you. Now, leasing companies expect you to return the car in good, clean shape. This means you have to repair any damage to your car that your dealer finds excessive. If you try to return a car to the dealer with, for example, an excessive cracked windshield, guess what? The company will charge you, which means more money coming out of your own pocket for something you never even owned. It's good to know, though, that some leases do include basic maintenance, so your cost will only be insurance and fuel. That is, unless you somehow manage to completely total your car. Now, if you're the type of a person who drives the kids to school in the morning and then takes the car to work, picks everybody up at the end of the day, and then decides to go on a spontaneous weekend road trip, you might need to watch out if you're leasing your car. Leasing has varying mileage limits, usually around 10,000 to 15,000 miles a year. If you go over the mileage, you're going to have to pay extra per mile. So be careful. Thinking of leasing a new ride so people give you a higher Uber driver rating? Well, you may be surprised to learn that some contracts don't allow you to use your leased vehicle for ride-sharing programs like Uber or Lyft. And remember, any miles you use towards a ride-sharing business means less miles for your own personal driving. Some people are surprised to learn that they're actually cheaper to buy a car and hold on to it as long as you can instead of leasing one. That's because you don't build any equity on a leased car. You also have to pay some extra fees that don't come with a loan, like the acquisition or lease initiation fee. Did you know that you need a pretty good credit score to be able to even qualify for a decent lease? If you do qualify with a lower score, you're likely to have a higher leasing interest rate. In other words, your lease cost will be much more expensive. Most banks, credit unions, and other financial sources don't even offer credit for leases. This means the average American is limited to using captive financing. Pretty much, it means you have to work with a financial arm of a major car company. The downside is that you're restricted to whatever rate the lender wants to offer. But now, let's talk about the biggest car leasing scams. Believe it or not, there are plenty out there. One of the most common scams is a dealer raising the price of your car after you've already negotiated its price. The negotiated price of your car has a direct effect on the monthly lease payments. This is called capitalized cost. The law requires that capitalized cost be stated in the contract, but many consumers don't actually know this. This means that your dealer can easily add a few $1,000s to the price after negotiation, and you won't even know. If you are one of the few that did notice and tell your dealer, they'll usually claim it was an honest mistake. Yeah, right. Some consumers also don't know that they can negotiate the purchase price during the lease discussion. They just leave it to the dealer to decide the price, and they just pay the manufacturer's suggested retail price, or MSRP. If you want to avoid the scam, remember to double check the capitalized cost is the same that you originally negotiated for the car in the first place. Scam number 2 is that you got to watch out for hidden add-ons. When the dealer sneaks in these add-ons to your lease, this increases the overall price of the vehicle. Sometimes as simple as pinstriping or even extended warranties can be added to the lease, and you may not even notice those increased monthly payments. Oh, by the way, buying an extended warranty on a lease doesn't make much sense since the manufacturer warranty will almost always cover everything for the short duration of the lease, so keep your eyes out for that one too. Another scam is that the dealer might increase the length of the lease right under your nose. If the monthly payment for your 24 or 36-month lease is too high, some dealers will lengthen the term of the lease to 39 months or longer to lower the payment. The problem is, they might not tell you. Yes, it'll be written in your contract, but if you're not paying attention, it can be easy to miss. This means that when you come in at the end of your lease to return your car, you could be met by the sorry surprise that you still have to keep your car and pay your lease payments for several months longer than you thought. So always read the lease document thoroughly and the fine print. So let's say after all this you decide to still lease a car rather than buy. Well then, here are the first helpful tips to make sure you get the best deal and experience. 1. First, consider the real total cost of leasing. When you think of the word total, some people assume the total sum of their monthly payments. But that's not the case with leasing. You need to also consider the down payment, acquisition fee, and security deposit fees. This could easily add $5,000 to your total lease cost. If you only look at the monthly lease payments, that's misleading because in reality, you'll pay more than that. If you love your lease car so much that you want to buy it as soon as possible, well, some contracts actually do allow for an early buyout, which means you can purchase the vehicle before the end of the lease contract. But just be aware that this often involves extra fees. Generally, a lease end buyout is a better deal. Also, it's generally recommended that you avoid putting down any money that goes towards capitalized cost reduction. In other words, avoid down payments if you can. Putting down this money is a risk. Let's say your car gets stolen or totaled the day after you lease it. Well, guess what? You won't get any of your down payment back. Putting money down on a lease does reduce your monthly payment, but it doesn't lower the overall cost. This means in the long run, it won't save you money as you would on a car loan. This is because all the interest charges are computed into the lease price up front, meaning the total cost of a lease is set ahead of time. Whether you decide to make a down payment or not, the overall amount you pay for your vehicle does not change. Are you thinking of canceling your lease early? Then you should look carefully at what your contract says about early termination fees. One exception exception to this rule is if you're in the military in certain circumstances, like you've been ordered to move or you get deployed. The Federal Service Members Civil Relief Act allows you to cancel a car lease. And you won't even have to pay an early termination charge or penalty. But now you tell me, what do you think is better, leasing a car or buying it? If you've leased a car before and have any funny or horror stories, please share by commenting below. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for your support.